locked wing is a defense against a hammerlock while the opponent is standing behind you. The word wing signifies your forearm and elbow. In this case, it's locked behind your back, hence the name locked wing. Let's take a look. So what happened there? Well, the opponent has a firm grab on my wrist. And in the ideal phase, when you practice it with your partner, have him grab you palm up like this. We can look at different variations where his palm is maybe down or he's got even some funky wrist lock. In most cases, the technique will work out just the same. But for the ideal, it's an underhanded grab to my left wrist, right hand on my shoulder. Right? He could be escorting me out the door or something like that. My first maneuver is to turn my left foot inward slightly. It's going to give me balance for my stance here in a minute. I'm going to counter grab with my left as I shoot a right reverse bow buckle to the inside of his left thigh to unsettle his balance. And I'm going to turn to face him in a right neutral bow, or maybe a horse stance towards 3, with a right outward elbow to the jaw and a right outward heel palm claw to the face. From there, I'm going to wrap up tightly around his arm right at the elbow joint. And I'm going to step back to 9 o'clock. So I'm facing 3 in a right forward bow. From here, I'm going to pivot to 10:30 in a left forward bow as I create downward pressure on his elbow joint, canceling his height and his width. From here, I'm going to release my left hand and drive a left knee and as I shift up the circle and execute a rear scoop kick into the face and begin my cover out. I'm going to rear crossover and execute a back kick before fully completing my cover out. Let's try that for another set. I turn my left foot inwards. I begin to counter grab as I buckle. I turn to face him in a right neutral bow with a right outward elbow and heel palm claw. Wrapping up real tight around the elbow joint. Stepping back to 9, pivoting to 10:30. There you go. Knee smash. I'm going to do that with the back of the camera. So you can imagine you have me in the hammerlock. I turn my left foot inward slightly because when I go to my right reverse bow, I'll have good stability. If I leave my left foot where it is, pointed straight or even pointed outward slightly, and I shoot my foot back, it's going to feel like a very stretched twist stance, and I'm not going to feel too stable. So that left foot really needs to be turned inward, and that's why I start with that right off the bat. So left foot turns in, left counter grab, buckle the leg. Outward elbow and claw, wrapping up real tight. Now don't get too carried away with the feet. Keep the feet kind of close underneath of you. A little step towards 9. Pivot, knee smash to the face. Let's get real close to the camera and we can kneel. So you have your buckle, you have your elbow. Make sure you wrap up right at his elbow joint. If I'm too low here by his forearm, it's not going to create any pain in his elbow. And if I'm up here by his shoulder, I might have a little more leverage to throw him, but again, there's not going to be any pain compliance. So here's his elbow, and that's right where I need to be. Right, both hands gripping tightly. Let's look at some other variations he could be doing. I'm going to turn slightly, hopefully the camera can see this. In this case, his left hand is palm up. Grab me palm down. Some people might want to grab this way, although it's much easier for me to escape if he's grabbing me that way. So for him, logically, it makes more sense for his left palm to be up towards the ceiling. Another option is he could put his left hand on my shoulder. Go ahead and grab my shoulder with your left hand. Yep. And his right hand could be grabbing palm up. This changes things a little bit. My counter grab is going to be a little funky. My elbow might still work out, but hopefully I can still wrap up this arm. In which case I can attempt to throw. It'll be a little harder because I don't have his wrist controlled, but you might still be able to pull off the technique. Same scenario, right hand grabbing the wrist, left hand on the shoulder. Another variation would be to grab my wrist and to push my fingers inward, like this, like a gooseneck or an inward wrist lock. And the more pressure he puts on the back of my hand, go ahead and wrench, it's going to create a lot of pain in my wrist. So this isn't so much a shoulder lock now as it is a wrist lock. The good news is you can still turn an elbow. You don't have much of a counter grab, but the more you turn towards him, the more pressure is relieved from your wrist. And so again, locked wing seems to work out pretty well. So practice a whole bunch of different ways. When you meet other students and friends and stuff who have some experience, they're going to give you all sorts of funky hammerlocks. But try it all the different ways. Another thing I want you to consider is how you can send the opponent in different directions. In this case, I said to bend him over. Notice that we're focusing on zones of protection here. Remember height, width, and depth. So if we do the technique again, when I do my initial buckle, I'm canceling his height. I'm making him bend forward. And when I elbow and strike through the face, I'm rotating him away from me, which is width, and kind of looking up towards the ceiling perhaps. Here especially, when I wrap around his arm, I take my step and I apply pain to his elbow. It's like an arm bar, only now I'm doing it from the inside of the opponent. And notice he bends over, so that's his height. And his right arm is very far away from me, so I've canceled his width. So height and width there. So think about those zones of protection. But when I'm firing that, let's one more time from the other side. They get lots of chances to view the technique in this one. My buckle, my elbow, my claw. If I have another opponent or someone else I need to worry about, instead of focusing the opponent downward, I could focus him out in any number of directions. So I'm going to send you kind of towards the doors there. So he may stumble, he may stagger, he may fall, but I can use him as an obstacle to keep other people away and to make my escape. So, thank you. Have fun with locked wing. I want to show you an interesting, well, definitely practical, maybe not so interesting, insert that you can use in locked wing. I was teaching this technique to a student a few days ago, and she immediately said, "Oh, your leg is between his legs. Can you kick him like this?" And I said, "Absolutely. It's called a rear scoop kick." So let's take a look. Let's say I'm in this hammerlock. I'm in a locked wing scenario here. He's got a tight grab on my coat, and then this is what might justify using a scoop kick. I still turn my right foot and buckle his leg to disturb his balance, but this isn't going to happen. I can't hammer the groin. Can't reach his face. He's hanging on so tight I can't step out so well. He's just got everything covered except my feet. So if I can transition here to a close kneel or a left reverse cat stance, I can utilize a rear scoop kick to the groin, 2 or 3 of them maybe, to soften him up. He's definitely going to let go with this hand and start guarding his groin. He's going to start checking against my leg, which is going to give me the opportunity to elbow and wrap up for my arm bar and takedown. So just because anytime the opponent's behind you, be it a bear hug, full Nelson, but I just wanted to present it to you there in locked wing.